From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a major day here on LALATE with huge stimulus checks coming to millions of Americans. Stimulus checks before Christmas, stimulus checks for low-income individuals, stimulus checks for SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits in every U.S. state. In today's recording, we're going to go over these incredible stimulus checks and the latest stimulus check news and how to understand how to get these incredible checks. First, we'll go over these massive stimulus checks that are paying out a lot of money. On average, 5 stimulus checks per month, $3,000 of stimulus checks per month, and 18 months of stimulus checks. These are fast stimulus checks that pay out in about 48 hours, $300,000 of stimulus checks over 18 months of stimulus checks. We'll go over the latest details on how to get these incredible stimulus checks in this recording. Again, 18 months of stimulus checks. These are monthly stimulus checks, and they're for you. I'm going to go over these incredible stimulus checks. First, how to get them before Christmas, then how to tee up to get more stimulus checks after Christmas, and then how to get these monthly stimulus checks thereafter, and stimulus checks coming in January additionally. Using the Christmas to get stimulus is a big push. I'm going to go over how to get it in today's recording. Then we'll be teeing up the countdown to PEBT stimulus checks coming to LLA. But these big stimulus checks that are law now have been paying viewers since the month of March. And if you haven't gotten them, welcome to LA, the leader in the subject matter. Low-income stimulus checks, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, stimulus checks for every U.S. state. Then we'll count down to 2023, when a brand new bill, which we're advocating for, proposes to get $2,200 monthly add-ons or raises to your current benefits, and then a $2,000 stimulus check on that top of that. That's SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits. Plus, the return of purple power as we advocate for the passage of this massive reform. We'll be going over the latest details on more firings, the latest details of the housing market, what happened to crypto, and the Santa Claus rally. It's a big, bold, beautiful day with the latest corporate earnings as well from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Happy holidays. It's a special edition of Holidays LA, and we have a lot of breaking news to go over. Of course, those massive stimulus checks. I'm excited you're here, and here is one of those incredible stimulus checks. Would you like $80,000 of stimulus checks? Of course you would. I'm going to go over all these incredible sums of money in today's recording from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Happy holidays and get ready for the incredible, great news on Afternoons. Good afternoon, everybody. What a week it was when the Federal Reserve sent the market in a tailspin. We'll go over the latest details on what happened with the markets this week, but that's coming up later in this recording. First, the big stimulus check news. Massive stimulus checks are available for you. Viewers have been getting these stimulus checks, and if you just found this channel, welcome. You can get these incredible stimulus checks by Christmas. We're going to go over these massive stimulus checks right now, and they're absolutely incredible. Congress and the President of the United States passed a series of executive actions and bills early this year, which established these incredible stimulus checks. And how much stimulus checks are there? 18 months of stimulus checks, $3,000 of stimulus checks per month, 5 stimulus checks per month. And who are they for? They're for you. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, SSA, VA, RB. They're for you, these stimulus checks. If you are low income, yes, low income stimulus checks, SSI and SSDI stimulus checks, and stimulus checks for every U.S. state. These are absolutely incredible. You can get them by Christmas. Why? Because the routing time on these incredible stimulus checks is 2 days in some cases. Then what I'm going to show you is use this week before Christmas, use the week of Christmas, and the week after Christmas to apply for more stimulus checks. Because why? There are 18 months of incredible stimulus checks, $3,000 of stimulus checks per month, 5 stimulus checks per month, and you deserve it. You were owed it. You were promised, and this is for you. SSI SSDI massive stimulus checks. Let's understand where these incredible stimulus checks came from and what's at issue. These incredible stimulus checks started in the month of March when Joseph Biden passed a series of executive actions which established these first 3 stimulus checks. $100,000 of stimulus checks. For you, stimulus checks if you're low income. For you, stimulus checks if you're SSI and SSDI. You were promised and it became law. And viewers on this channel have been getting these stimulus checks if they're on SSI and SSDI, low income, or make $75,000 less, single individual, $150,000 less since March. If you haven't got to them, I'm going to show you how to get them because you qualify. Then came Congress, and Congress passed a series of other bills or bill that establish more stimulus checks, bringing us to hundreds of stimulus checks for you. If you're low income, if you're SSI and SSDI, these incredible stimulus checks are huge. They're all in the LALATE newsletter. How do I get these incredible stimulus checks? Step 1, go under this video, join the channel. You're watching LALATE, the leader for this subject matter in American broadcasting. Number 1 for financial news on this subject matter. Number 3 overall for financial news. I've gotten viewers $50 million since this channel launched in 2020. And currently I have hundreds of stimulus checks for you in that LALATE newsletter. Start with check A, B, and C, then continues to E through K, the ones done from Congress, and then continues all the way to L to Q. These incredible stimulus checks are great. They are in the LALATE newsletter, delivered from me to you. That is the newsletter right there. That is the alert of the newsletter. You click the view post and it sends you right into the newsletter, and it's absolutely incredible. How do I get a newsletter? How do I apply for these incredible stimulus checks? Step 1, go under this video, join the channel. Join LALATE, join Purple Power, become a proud member of the community that's making a big difference. In a second, we're going to go over the advocacy for SSI reform. You want to be part of the incredible Purple Power community. Go into this video and become a member of this incredible community. And as a member, you get that incredible newsletter from me Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. That alert from YouTube will say, hey, there's a newsletter. Once you get that alert, you click the link, it sends you right into the newsletter, and you apply for these incredible stimulus checks. Again, that newsletter is 7 o'clock my time on the West Coast Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, like New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Atlanta, and 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, like Chicago, Illinois, Missouri, St. Louis. That incredible newsletter is wonderful. And get those incredible stimulus checks. We're going to go over all these incredible stimulus checks in just a second. But here is what you also need to know. You can get these incredible stimulus checks by Christmas because the routing time on stimulus checks, according to Johnny, is 2 days. Johnny started on Monday. By Wednesday, he had $45,000 of stimulus checks. By Friday, he had $80,000 of stimulus checks. You want to use the efforts of the newsletter to apply for those credible stimulus checks so that you could have stimulus checks by Christmas and potentially even have a brand new computer, tablet, or laptop. That's stimulus check N coming up later in this recording. Stay with this 1-hour broadcast as I show you how to get these incredible stimulus checks. Next, I want you to use this week, the week before Christmas, the week of Christmas, the week after Christmas to apply for stimulus. Why? Because the applications are all online. You don't need to wait for an office to open. You can apply on a Sunday at 5 o'clock at night. You don't have to wait for anyone to answer the phone. You can go right on your cell phone right this moment and apply for stimulus. I don't care what time zone it is. I don't care if it's the middle of the night or shortly before sunrise. Apply for all this incredible stimulus. And then guess what happens? Once you get approved for monthly stimulus checks, then they will be coming next month as well. PEBT checks, stimulus checks, are coming to LALATE in the next few days. These incredible stimulus checks, again, are for any individual who makes $75,000 annual income or less. Any married couple who makes $150,000 less or less annual income. So this is low-income stimulus checks. You qualify. Go get them. It's promised to you. It's law. It's been paid. Go get them. There's SSI, SSDI, Social Security, SSA, VA, RB stimulus checks as well for every U.S. state. We're going to go over each of these incredible checks starting right now. The first stimulus check is stimulus check A. And that stimulus check A is absolutely incredible. Again, this was the first one done by Joseph Biden. It's a $6,500 to $12,000 stimulus check. And how do I get that stimulus check? Step one, you go into this video, join the channel, then get that newsletter and go right in the newsletter to apply for the checks. Where do I get the checks? In the newsletter. How do I get the newsletter? By joining the channel. The newsletter is delivered from me to you. How is it delivered? Via the YouTube alert. YouTube alert. So make sure you have that bell on the front of this channel set to all on. That YouTube alert, again, remember the time zone, 7 o'clock West Coast Standard Time, 10 o'clock Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, that's Eastern Standard Time. And what is your time zone if you're in the Midwest? That's Central Standard Time. Like St. Louis or Illinois, go down and get that incredible newsletter and click and apply for that incredible check A. That's a check, stimulus check that Spelling got. And also Kimberly. We're not done there yet. You go get stimulus check B. Stimulus check B is the one that really sets you up beautifully. Why? Because viewers for this stimulus check B, and they're getting more on the high end, more towards the $80,000 or more stimulus, are getting 18 months of this incredible stimulus check B. Countless viewers from this channel are getting something similar to what Frank Mancuso got. He joined this channel, and in less than 30 days, what did he get? 18 months of monthly stimulus checks, automatic stimulus set up for him. This is you if you're low income, stimulus checks. This is you if you're on SSI and SSDI, stimulus checks for you. This is you if you're on VA, railroad benefits. He got 18 months set up, automatic stimulus checks. And every month he's getting about 6 stimulus checks automatic to him. He's getting his mortgage, he's getting his utilities, he's getting his high-speed internet. That's about 6 checks. That's tens of thousands of dollars. We have a lot of viewers out of all the different states that are getting these 18 months of stimulus checks, 5 stimulus checks per month, $3,000 of stimulus checks per month. This is you. Again, what are you waiting for? This was passed for you. This is for you. Again, low-income stimulus checks, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits stimulus checks. Go get them. I want you to get those applications in before Christmas so that you get stimulus checks before Christmas. And then I want you to set it up so that you get monthly stimulus checks thereafter. So keep on applying even the week after Christmas, apply before Christmas, and even the week after Christmas, because I want you to get these monthly stimulus checks. Those are just the first 2 stimulus checks. Now, in addition to stimulus check A and stimulus check B, what comes next in the alphabet? You know the answer. It's C, and that is stimulus check C. This is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And in the newsletter, the only place in the American landscape of financial broadcasting, I have 12 places, not one, but 12 places for you to reach out to for this incredible check C. Make sure you reach out to all 12 because you're going to get a no and you're also going to get a yes. You're going to get about 50% approval rate and a 50% rejection rate. So you need to reach out to all 12 places. It's for rent, stimulus checks. It's for utilities, stimulus checks. It's for mortgage utility stimulus checks. And they are absolutely incredible. We've been getting these incredible checks, C's, or you have, by watching the videos since the month of March, but a lot of viewers have been getting it since 2020. That's when this channel launched. And I've gotten people $50 million of stimulus checks, more than any other broadcaster in American landscape ever. Do you want $30,000 of stimulus checks? Then go get stimulus check C. How do you get stimulus check C? Go out of the video, join the channel, and go get some rent stimulus. Do you want your utility bills paid, like your electric, your water, your heating oil? Then go under the video, join the channel, and go down the membership newsletter, check C. It tells you, again, the 12 places to reach out to. Make sure you reach out to all 12. And then how about SNAP? Yes. And what about combinations of checks? Combinations of checks. Mark was at $32,000 of stimulus checks. Then he went to $50,000 of stimulus checks. Then $100,000 of stimulus checks. And then $166,000 of stimulus checks. Lorraine was at $105,000 of stimulus checks. And then she went to $155,000 of stimulus checks. Dragon has gone to $170,000 of stimulus checks. She's a triple member to all 3 channels, LA1, LA2, and LA3. And Johnny helped 20 friends and neighbors get $250,000 of stimulus checks. It's happening all the time. It's been happening on this channel since 2020. It's been happening all this year. It happened this week. It happened yesterday. And it'll happen next week. That's because this incredible money is here, but you need to move quickly. Why? That word on the screen right now. I was the first American broadcaster in financial news to use that word in 2022. They thought it was crazy. It was February. And they said, how dare you use the R word? I said, we're going to recession. It's starting in January 2023. They said, you're crazy. Now they all say I'm brilliant. Because guess what? I also said it's going to be a hard recession, a 2-year recession. A 2-year recession means you need tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks. Look at how many zeros are in this graphic. See that image there? Look how many zeros are there. That's not an $800 stimulus check. That's not an $8,000 stimulus check. That is an $80,000 stimulus check. If you're on SSI SSDI Social Security Railroad benefits, if you're low income, you need lots of stimulus because it's going to cost you a lot more to live. With inflation not going down, you need these stimulus checks. So do them right today. Plus, I want you to start applying for stimulus checks today. I want you to, right today, go under this video, join this channel right this minute if you've not already. Then I want you to open that newsletter as soon as you get it and go right in and click the links and start applying for checks A, B, and C stimulus checks. For C, it's going to tell you the 12 places to reach out to and 12 things to say. Then I want you to stay with me because I'm only at stimulus check C for you. Next coming up are E through K and then all the way L to Q. But what I want you to do after that, I want you to continue to apply for stimulus checks all weekend long, all week long, and continuing after Christmas because you set this up perfectly for yourself so that you get stimulus checks monthly for 2023. And you know what 2023 is? Yes, the recession. Again, these are stimulus checks for you if you're low income stimulus checks. SSI, SSDI, VA, RB, stimulus checks. They're law. They've been paid since March. Viewers on SSI and SSDI have gotten stimulus checks from this channel since March. We're not talking about hope that they're passed. We're not talking about desire or aspiration that this is going to become law. It has been law since the month of March. It was passed for you. And so you need to go get those incredible stimulus checks. One of the topics I'm excited to announce that's going to be coming to this channel in the next few weeks is PEBT stimulus checks. Why is it important to bring it up right now? Why? Because PEBT stimulus checks are paying for what was endured in 2021. Why are they paying checks now, almost into 2023, for what happened to people in 2021? Because the federal government's behind on doing things. So these are checks for households that endured issues of COVID in 2021, and the checks are just getting paid now in December 2022 as we start 2023. Why is that important? Because of this graphic. You're a senior. You are on disability. You're on SSI, SSDI, SSA, VA. You were promised in 2020 that you were going to get a Social Security reform legislation passed because during COVID, during the pandemic, you endured a lot of financial strain and were not compensated enough by the federal government, while other people were. And that is why they proposed to reform the system. Yes, that's why I'm bringing up after the last graphic, because remember, the last graphic, which was not that one, it was this one was talking about PEBT checks for young households where they endured something in 2021. They're just getting paid now going into 2023, and they will be paid in 2023 still for what they endured in 2021. Well, how about you? Same thing. You endured a lot in 2021 and were not paid enough. So this proposed legislation is what? Social Security reform. So this proposed legislation is what we're getting ready for next year. For next year, we're getting ready for, in addition, on top of the stimulus checks, which are already law, which we've already gone through, in addition to those stimulus checks, they're proposing this incredible legislation for 2023 to reform Social Security. SSI, SSDI, Social Security of Railroad benefits. Number one, they want to give you more monthly benefits every month lifetime. This is in addition to your current raise. This is in addition to everything else we talk on this channel. They want to give you an additional $200 more, raise your benefits, because they believe you were behind all these years, and that linking you to inflation to get you caught up this year doesn't get you caught up for all those other years. Then they also want to give you a one-time $2,000 stimulus check. What do they also want to do? And what did we call this in the past? We called this fifth stimulus on this channel. You can call it Social Security reform. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I call it SS200, hashtag SS200. I started the hashtag campaign in 2020, and we're still doing it today. They want to remove the marriage penalty, which is very critical, because if you marry someone and you are on benefits and they're on benefits, you lose your benefits, potentially. They want to remove the income cap. Why? Because if you do wish to work, you don't have to, but if you do wish to work, you can't make that much money. They don't allow you to work that much. They want people to work if they desire to. And then they want to lower the eligibility age of Medicare and benefits, hashtag Purple Power. Hashtag Purple Power. Take this video on social media, share it, tag your elected officials, say, pass the Social Security reform, hashtag SS200, hashtag Purple Power, tag me, and we're going to go over more about that in a second. The breaking news that really caused this market to go into tailspin this week was this graphic. It came in the day after Jay Powell announced that FOMC raise of benefits. And after Jay Powell announced a 50 basis raise of interest rates, not benefits, of interest rates, then what happened? The day after that, the retail sales numbers for the month of November came in, and they were horrible. October, Halloween. November, Black Friday. December, Christmas. Those 3 months are critical to every retailer to making a big profit in the year. If they don't do good numbers in October, November, December, they can go bankrupt potentially. And what happened? October was all right for Halloween, but November was horrible. We all knew Black Friday did not deliver enough revenue in the stores. We all knew the consumers had their cash accounts drying up, but we didn't know how bad it was. And in fact, this graphic depicts the problem that we saw this week. Wall Street was looking for a drop of retail sales of 3% in the month of November, but it wasn't. It was a drop of 0.6. Yes, it was much lower than estimated. And that was a certain problem that started the markets really falling dramatically. The graphic you see on the screen right there is how the markets closed on Friday. The Dow ended down 281 points. The NASDAQ fell 105 points. Look in the red part of the ticker right there. That is the final close of the markets on Friday. The details fell on a day in which we did have some relatively good news, which could be interpreted as bad news. Continuing jobless claims did not get worse, 1.6 million. That's good news. New claims fell. Unemployment claims fell to 211,000 new jobless claims from 230,000. But why is that bad news? It's potentially bad news because it may mean the Federal Reserve will come in more aggressively because they think labor is holding up. Remember, the Federal Reserve wants to make more people unemployed, and to make them more unemployed would solve inflation in their mind. Wow. That's why you have to get all these incredible stimulus checks. Now, in addition to those first 3 checks done by Joseph Biden, we have other stimulus checks, and those are stimulus checks E through K. And let's look at those incredible stimulus checks E through K starting right now. I told you I have a lot of stimulus checks in today's recording. Stimulus check E is a $7,500 stimulus check. It's absolutely incredible. Again, these are stimulus checks for you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, stimulus checks. These are low-income stimulus checks. These are stimulus checks for any individual who makes $75,000 less in any U.S. state, or married couple who makes $150,000 less in any U.S. state. No other restriction really applicable across the board. Stimulus check E, a $7,500 stimulus check. How do I get that stimulus check? Go into the video, join the channel, become a member to the proud Purple Power family. Go down to stimulus check E through K. They're together. Remember, first you do A, then you do B, then you do C. Now we're at E through K, the ones done by Congress. E, again, $7,500. F, a $4,000 stimulus check. I love that. And then we go to a beautiful G, 30% off stimulus check. H, a $2,000 stimulus check. Wonderful. We're not done there yet, because then stimulus check I, $8,000 stimulus check. Stimulus check J, $8,000 stimulus check. Then K, a $14,000 stimulus check. Those are wonderful. Those again are for you. Those were the ones done by Congress. Stimulus checks E through K. Now let's go to the stimulus checks that came thereafter. I found them for you because that's my dedication to you, getting you big stimulus checks. And again, where are these? These are in the LA newsletter from me to you. After E through K, these are now at L to Q. Stimulus check L, $100,000 an average of loan interest-free money. M, $4,000 grant. Then N, do you want a brand new tablet? Do you want a brand new computer? Do you want a brand new laptop for Christmas? You got enough time, go get Stimulus N right today. Right today, and you can have a free computer for Christmas. Viewers have been getting this. Spella got it. Ling Glenn got it. Countless viewers have gotten this incredible tablet. They chose the tablet because they like a tablet because you just hold it in your hands. Some viewers would prefer a laptop. Other people would prefer a computer. What would you like? They're all free. You choose your one. Tablet, computer, or laptop at Stimulus N in the newsletter. Word about internet? Don't, because Stimulus N includes free internet. Free internet, free tablet. Imagine how wonderful your life will be. I got to be very frank with you. I don't buy that much in stores anymore. I just don't go to stores anymore. Christmas is just a few days away, and I used to love going into stores. Los Angeles, they don't have many Christmas decorations. They just don't have many Christmas decorations. So, if it was in New York, where I once lived for a short period of time, you go to look at the Christmas decorations. But Los Angeles, you go to look at the traffic. So I rather be on the computer looking through, I don't have a tablet, but you have a tablet. That's Stimulus N. Stimulus O, 0 down payment, 0 closing costs. Isn't that disgraceful? The stores do not have Christmas decorations here in Los Angeles. It's just awful. Those cheap people. Then we go to Stimulus P. It doesn't cost them much to put up a Christmas tree. I mean, they're charging us so much per head of lettuce. Making a lettuce Christmas tree. So Lauren will eat it. Stimulus P is wonderful. 3% stimulus, and then $8,000 stimulus check is at Stimulus Q. Wow. So there you go. Those are stimulus checks, A to Q. A to Q. And they started in March. They've been lost since March. Viewers on this channel have gotten these stimulus checks since March. Viewers on SSI and SSDI are holding tens of thousands of dollars of stimulus checks from this channel since March. You just found this channel, welcome, but there's still time for you to get caught up. Understand this is the way that stimulus checks are done now. And how do you get them? You go right on this video, join the channel. Go right down and make sure you have that bell set to all notifications, all on. You can join LA1 or LA2 or LA3, any of these 3 broadcasting channels in this broadcasting family called LALATE. Then watch for that alert Monday through Friday. Know your time zone. Are you in New York or New Jersey? You're Eastern Standard Time, so that is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Are you in the Midwest? That's CST, Central Standard Time, so that's 9 o'clock for you. Exactly on the money. You get that alert, go down the alert, past the guy at the surfboard, click the link, and sends you right into the newsletter. What are the largest checks? $100,000. What are the smallest stimulus checks for you? $8,000 stimulus checks. Low income, Social Security, SSI, SSA. Fastest routing time, 2 days. John started on Monday. By Wednesday, had $45,000. We have stimulus checks for the rent, the utilities, the mortgage. We have stimulus checks for the household appliances. We have stimulus checks for the home repairs. We have stimulus checks for the computer, the tablet, the free internet, and also for the car. These are incredible. And these are federal stimulus checks, FSCs. These are Santa stimulus, Thanksgiving stimulus. They've been paying all year long, and they are still paying right now, but we don't know how long they will pay. So make sure you move quickly right this moment and join this channel and start applying for stimulus checks right this moment. That is the latest stimulus check news right at the moment. We'll go back into these stimulus checks one at a time, a little bit more in a second. But remember, what's important to know is that you want to use the holidays to your advantage. One, you want to get stimulus checks before Christmas. That's item number one. Number two, you want to use the week before Christmas, the week of Christmas, and the week after Christmas to apply for incredible lots of stimulus checks. Why? So that you set yourself up for monthly stimulus checks like Frank Mancuso and Kimberly and so many other viewers like Lynn Glenn have done, and do that right today, and then get ready for the next few weeks when PEBT stimulus checks come thereafter. Now let's go to that proposed legislation. This is an addition to what I talked about. It's totally different. Totally different. In 2023, totally different. They're putting together consideration of several different bills that have already been written by Democrats in the last 2 years. We all know, it's all been discussed, that Joseph Biden has thought and proposed for Social Security reform in the second half of his first term. That second half of his first term starts next year. And the Social Security reform would involve more money for you, reform the way in which you get paid, reform the way in which you can keep money, reform the way in which you can generate money. It's so critical. And why is it critical? Because a lot of these laws are very, very antiquated. They're outdated. They don't make any sense. First thing they want to do is give you a $200 raise of your benefits, SS200, like Sally, SS200. Go on social media, share this video, tag your elected officials, and tag me, of course, LLA, hashtag Purple Power, hashtag SS200. Why do they want to do a $200 monthly raise of your benefits? I'll explain that in just a second. They also want to give you a one-time raise of your benefits of $2,000 one-time stimulus check. Let me explain this slowly because I don't think I've explained in a long time. It's very, very critical. I talked about it earlier this year and last year, but it's so important to remind you. You're tied to COLA for the raise of your benefits. Yes, COLA worked this 2 years because inflation's so high. But when inflation is not high, COLA doesn't really work. So you're getting a big raise next year. You already got a 5.9% raise for this year. You're getting an 8.7% raise next year, and you get 2 more raises thereafter. But here's the problem. For decades, COLA gave no one any raises if they're on SSI and SSDI, Social Security Rural Benefits, because for decades, we did not have inflation. And when there's no inflation, 1%, 0.5%, 2%, that's no money from COLA at the end of the year. So guess what happened? Cost of living went up. Things cost more money, but there wasn't more inflation. That's a totally different situation. Cost of living was different than inflation. We did not have inflation, but things were costing more money to live. And that was the problem, is that your benefits were not being raised up prior to 2 years ago. And so your benefits are really behind. They're behind. They're too low compared to where they should be right today. So that's when they want to give you $200 a month to raise your benefits up so you get caught up. They also want to give you $2,000 one-time stimulus check to get you lifted up so that we can catch you up quicker. It's sort of like, let's catch you up right now and then keep you current and make sure you don't stay behind, not you financially, but the rate of benefits, not so that the rate of benefits does not stay behind. It makes total sense. Now, we talked about this extensively in 2020. As fifth stimulus. And remember why fifth stimulus was important. We talked about it in the context of a recon. But fifth stimulus is critically important because why? They wanted to remove a lot of those really antiquated, old provisions that restrict the way in which you get stimulus, restrict the way in which you get paid. One of them is the marriage penalty. One of them is the income cap. One of them is lowering the eligibility age. In this proposed Social Security reform, they want to cancel out this marriage penalty, finally. So you can marry whoever you want to marry, and you would not lose benefits. They want to remove the income cap. So if you want to take a part-time job, you can take it and not worry about losing your benefits. You don't have to work, but if you want to, you can do it and still stay on retirement. And then they want to lower the eligibility of Medicare. So if you want to take early Medicare or early retirement, you can. Hashtag Purple Power. Hashtag SS200. Go on social media and tag your elected officials. We'll continue with the stimulus news and more about this in the big second half. It's the brand new look to Afternoons LA, and I'm excited you're watching it. Viewership was way up, nearly up 200% in 24 hours based upon this new look to this new broadcast with a lot more stimulus than ever before and a lot more about your money. It continues in the big second half as a big, bold, beautiful Afternoons Holiday Edition continues, and I have a holiday surprise for you as well. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in a big second half on the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good afternoon. It's holidays at afternoons at LA. Big stimulus checks are available to millions of Americans. And stimulus checks are available right now. You need to move very quickly to get these big stimulus checks. Why? Because a recession is less than 30 days away. And that recession is going to be a long recession, a 2-year recession. And this indication of why you need to get the stimulus checks manifests itself on Friday when Goldman Sachs, a very, very successful financial firm, laid off a massive amount of its workforce. Good afternoon, and I'm LA. Hope you're having a beautiful happy holidays. And this big second half, we're going to go over holiday decor and how to use the gift boxes and the food gifts as a way to decorate the household. That's coming up in just a second from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It was a very tumultuous day on the markets in the last 24 hours, and it started when we learned that Goldman Sachs, which is a very, very successful financial firm, laid off a massive amount of its workforce. And can you imagine? When we talk about layoffs, we often think about something like a retailer not meeting their earnings targets or something financially not going well. But the situation Goldman was not what we expected. Goldman Sachs said, we need to lay people off. And what's important to understand about this statement by Goldman Sachs is I want you to listen very carefully to the wording they use, because ultimately this could happen to you. I'm always here to teach you about words and expressions and money and stimulus, but I want you to listen very carefully what happened with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is reportedly going to fire 8% of its workforce. 8%. That's nearly 10% of its workforce. And that's even with great financial numbers they're proposing. But here's what I want you to listen to. While Goldman Sachs has not confirmed the firings yet, this is what its CEO, David Solomon, said days earlier. We continue to see headwinds on our expense lines, particularly in the near term. Okay, warning signal number one. At the place where you work says we see big problems with our costs or expenses in the near term or next year or right now. That's a big warning signal. Are you firing me? I mean, that's immediately what you'd be thinking, because that's what they're basically saying when they start that way of talking. Things are costing them too much money. They don't like it. So where do they cut the costs? Potentially fire you. Next sentence. We set in motion certain, this is Goldman's CEO. We set in motion certain expense mitigation plans. It's like a word salad. It's like a word salad without Thousand Island dressing on the side. We set in motion certain expense mitigation plans. You hear the word expense, you hear the word costs, you all know what those words mean. That means, they're thinking about firing me. Yeah, but it'll take some time to realize the benefits. Ultimately, we'll remain nimble and we will size, S-I-Z-E, the firm to reflect the opportunity. Size, another way of calling, shrink the workforce, shrink the number of people working, fire some people. And size is the size of the number of people employed, and the firm, in other words, saying the staff, the community, the workforce, the floor. Yeah, you don't want to hear those words. So if you hear those words, your son or daughter hears those words, and your friend or neighbor hears any words, you're like, what do those words mean when the boss said them to me today? It means he may be firing you. Now let's go over unemployment stimulus. I have not covered unemployment stimulus for nearly 2 years. I covered it for the first time yesterday, but I think I need to cover it right now. If you get unemployed, this is what you need to do right away. You need to apply for unemployment stimulus checks. Unemployment stimulus checks. How do you do it? Where do you do it? Let's go broadly, quickly over it right now. Unemployment stimulus checks are available for individuals who are at W-2 that are fired. And what are they? And how do you get them? They are monthly stimulus checks that come automatically to you by direct deposit, if that's what you wish, otherwise in the mail. I would choose direct deposit. In some cases, they come to a debit card, which they mail you in the mail. Number two, who sends you the stimulus checks? The employer? No, your state. The way you apply for these unemployment stimulus checks is you go right to your state, Secretary of State's Department of Labor or Department of Unemployment. You go right in there and you file for a brand new unemployment claim. There are two steps to the process. One, getting approved, and two, asking for checks every week that you are unemployed. Step one, you go right in for the stimulus checks and say, hi, my name is, I used to work at, and I've been fired. The most important element of step one is the firing date. Do not cheat yourself on that date. If you're fired November 1st, do not say December 1st. Do not say January 1st when it's November 1st, because guess what? You're losing weeks of checks. So you want to make it exactly the day in which you were fired and make sure you put it in accurately. Once you make a mistake, it's impossible to fix it. So do not underestimate the date of firing. Why? Each week you're unemployed, you get paid. Next, you want to go through all the questions. Some of the questions you want to pay really careful attention to are you willing to work? Willing to work is basically a question saying, would you emotionally like to work? Absolutely, I love to work. Are you able to work? What does that mean? That means, are you physically able to work? Are your legs okay? Are your hands okay? Yeah, I feel fine. So the answers must be yes. They must be yes, or they will deny your benefits. Yes, for any question of willing to work, want to work, can work, absolutely, you say yes. Then you go through all the steps, make sure everything is accurate, your address, your bank account, and then it'll set you up for approval. Once you're approved for unemployment, you are done with step one. Step two then requires you to do one of the most important steps that viewers of this channel got confused on in 2020. Viewers in 2020 on this channel thought that once they're approved for unemployment, they don't have to do anything else. No. Every week you are unemployed, you need to go back and certify for unemployment stimulus checks. What is certifying for unemployment benefit stimulus checks? It basically means going in there and saying, hi, I'm still unemployed. Can I have another stimulus check for this week? You need to do that every week, every single week. So make a little mental note. Every day of this week, each day of this week, each week, I will go in and certify for my benefits. Here's what's important to know. The faster you certify, the faster you get paid. If you're certifying too early, it'll just tell you you're too early. Come back in a day or two. Here's what's also important to remember. If that you just found this channel, you just found this recording, you said, my goodness, I didn't know to do this. Don't worry, because you'll get all those past weeks of uncertified benefits certified, and then you get a big one-time check. That's what happened to Eileen Bellenkamp out of Florida on this channel in 2020. She got $15,000 of unemployment stimulus in one payout. Sharon, who was one of the big helpers to this incredible channel when it first launched, he got $15,000, I think it was, out of Texas, I believe it was. So don't worry if you're late to starting this up. If you got unemployed, let's say in September, you'll get a massive amount of checks right across the board. Now, one of the things this morning for you to look at, forgot to mention yesterday because it's coming back in this channel because so many of you are getting unemployed, you need to get these unemployment stimulus checks right away, is you need to make sure that when you're doing these unemployment stimulus checks, you keep track of how many weeks your state has available for unemployment benefits. It may be 52 weeks, it may be 48 weeks, it may be 60 weeks. I don't know how many weeks your state allows you to be unemployed. So don't think that this is an endless gravy train. It's not. It could run out after about a year or a year and a half. But for a few months, you're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. And there you go. If you have questions about unemployment stimulus, jump on the live chat, jump under the video and post a comment. And if it meets certification for this channel, it'll post. And I love all your great unemployment stimulus questions. Let's go back in the breaking news we're working with today. So the unemployment stimulus teed up because of that Goldman firing, really troubling. Who might also lose their job? The housing industry. Housing flips are flopping. A new report coming in on Friday showed that Americans who are in the industry of home building or home flipping or anything like that are losing their shirts, and they're just not doing it. So you may be a W-2 in the housing industry, and you may lose your job very quickly. The housing flip market fell 18.4% in the current third quarter, in the last third quarter from the second quarter. This is one of the biggest quarterly declines in 10 years. With the demand for buyers weakening, price trends dropping, and financing more significant than ever before, flippers are finding a more difficult environment today. So people are just not going into anything with the housing market at all, and that could be you as well. Let's go to another industry where you want to watch your job, and that is food and dining. Darden Restaurant is the parent company of Olive Garden. And Olive Garden posted corporate earnings on Friday. And what happened? It beat on top, it beat on bottom. But the concern is the pressure of inflation for 2023. It said that consumers continue to eat out in the third quarter despite the pressure from inflation, but the markets are not so sure for next year. Darden CEO Rick Cardenas said that same-store sales went up, but a lot of the markets are not so sure going forward. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Alphabet, got a major upgrade on Friday, and boy, was it a big upgrade. The stock rose on the news when JP Morgan Securities upgraded from neutral to overweight. The stock rose 2% in pre-market trading, and there's what it was doing on Friday. Look at that beautiful pop, 5%, even though the stock is down dramatically this year, nearly 40+%. And then Adobe beat on top and bottom. This is a big software company. A lot of people love it for Photoshop and things like that. The stock was up 6% in pre-market trading during normal trading hours. There you go. Crypto news, Santa Claus rally, and the market recap. Later on Friday, a lot of other major breaking news came in. And let's go over that breaking news that came in late on Friday if you missed it from the afternoon show. This is stuff after the afternoon show, but that came in by the time of last night's evening's LA show. First, one big investor said the current market looks a little bit like June 2023. Paul Schott, president of Heritage Capital, says the latest sell-off looks a little bit like June. While June's decline led to a big summer rally, it was still in the context of a bear market. But here's where I disagree with him. Do you agree or disagree? Write in the live chat, agree or disagree, Paul. Because if you don't write Paul, it'll look like you disagree with me, which you don't do. I'm just being kidding. I have long argued that the October 13th bottom was either the end of the bear market or a low of significance. Both remain in play. No, we're going a lot lower. Disagree, Paul. 10-year Treasury yields rose on Friday. Now, one of the viewers, Dottie, had asked about this. She didn't understand why the bond rates aren't going higher when Jay Powell raised rates this week. This is what all the markets do not understand. The bond traders are keeping those bond rates still relatively lower than they should compared to the Fed funds rate. But at least on Friday, the 10-year bond rose to a 3.486, and the 2-year bond dropped just a little bit across the board. That was later in the day. Now, earlier in the day, we also had a really fascinating two reports. One, the Santa Claus rally. Could the Santa Claus rally still come on? And what is the likelihood of that event? The Santa Claus rally is a rally that's critical for us to have. The markets always trade up in the final weeks of December. You want that because January is usually a horrible month. The Santa Claus rally happens every year, historically on the 10th trading day of the month of December. That puts it at December 14th this year. But we've not gone up. We went down 900 points, 700 points, 600 points, 400, 300, 200. Every day has been a downtrend. But a brand new report from a Quincy Crosby at LPL Financial says next week could still be the Santa Claus rally. The quote, the market doesn't care when Santa Claus rides, just as long as he actually shows up. Speak for yourself. Obviously, he arrives a week later. That means it's a shorter rally because January is not a Santa Claus rally. Santa Claus does not stay around in springtime. He's a Club Met. Another brand new report that came on Friday. I think this one is brilliant analysis. Wow. Is that the major report for 2023, for purposes of the Federal Reserve, could be the jobs report. Wow, that is a smart analysis. Why is that analysis so important? That brings us back to that labor number early in this broadcast. The Federal Reserve seems at issue content on raising interest rates to battle inflation until labor is so horrible they need to put the brakes on it. How horrible is labor right now? It's actually quite good. The unemployment rate is still really low, and that unemployment rate is released monthly in the jobs report. Every Thursday, however, which is not monthly, it's every Thursday, is the new jobless claims and continuing jobless claims number. That number is relatively good. It's not that bad. The analysis by this fascinating analyst at Wells Fargo Security, head of equity strategy, Christopher Harvey, says, the CPI for inflation was the big report for the Fed in 2023. In 2022, the jobs report may be the big indicator of when Jay Powell stops those rate hikes in 2023. I think that's brilliant analysis, and I may agree. If the unemployment gets so horrible, the Federal Reserve may have to stop on those interest rate spikes. Remember why. This is important. Remember why. The Federal Reserve is established under the Constitution with a dual mandate. 1, maximum employment, and 2, price stability. Their job is 1, to keep the most people employed, and number 2, the prices lowest in the economy. But if one of those items falls apart, they can't hurt the other one so much to keep the other one better. So far, they've been able to do what they've done with interest rate spikes because the labor has not fallen apart. But if it does, oh boy, there you go. That was an extended broadcast. Oh my goodness, and we're running so long on time. Let's go into the holidays decor. Look at this. Oh, and there's a little bit of thing in the front. Let's turn it around. There you go. What is this? And do you recognize this? This is part of a 4-piece set that was sold in Costco many years ago for Christmas. What was it at the time? At the time, it was a set of hat-looking boxes that sold popcorn. Can you imagine? What is it made of? Yep, it is made of paper. It's a beautiful hat-looking box that has this beautiful red lacquer paint on it, and then a beautiful ring of shiny ribbon of gold at the top, and then red on the top. I gotta tell you, this is over 10 years old. Look how great it looks still right now. It was part of a 4-piece set, so the boxes go bigger and bigger and bigger. One of the biggest boxes is almost half as big as me. That's how wonderful it was. It was cheap. It was $15, $20 for 5 of these boxes. I keep them out year long because they're so gorgeous. They have a gorgeous sheen to them, and they're very, very decorative. The reason I'm bringing them on set is for you to understand that when doing gifting or when doing food boxes, don't think that because it's in a nicer box, it's more expensive. I've seen over time for the holidays that when sending food for gifts, the wrapping doesn't inherently cost that much more money. And I don't mean the specialty wrapping. I mean the way it was packaged by the seller for the holiday season. Last night I was on Amazon. I got some, I don't want to say it too loud, so they don't want to hear their Christmas gifts. I got some $6 German cookies. I've never had them before. I don't even know what they're called. They're $6, $7 on Amazon. And they look gorgeous. There's no special wrapping to them. Although one of them, oh no, I take it back. I think the $8 one I got were put in a little container that made it look like a Christmas tree. Sort of cute. But once you open the container, the packaging is gone. Packaging is a real great thing to consider when giving gifts. We feature early in this holiday season of Holidays LA the Christmas tin, the cookie tin. Cookie tins are usable year-round. So consider when buying something, not just what you're giving as a gift, the food, the cake, the cookies, the sweets. Also consider whether the packaging is something that lasts a generation. And if it does, the memories last a generation. That's what I really like about the holiday season, because ultimately, when you're considering items, it doesn't necessarily mean that packaging makes the price point go higher. It's just dependent upon the particular item. And then look at this little guy. What would Sir Loin think of this little guy? How are you, sir? This is a beautiful reindeer, and let's turn him around. Oh, isn't he gorgeous? He is, again, part of a set. I got 4 of them many, many years ago, and he just is great. He's paper mache. I know Anna's probably making one right now. She'll probably be done by the end of the broadcast. It is a gorgeous paper mache reindeer, and yes, it came in a set, part of a set. This is the smallest of the reindeers. The largest one is larger than me. And again, just because it's large doesn't mean it's more expensive. That's what's important to understand with this economy, then in the economy now as well. Larger reindeer, not particularly more expensive than smaller reindeer, because it's paper mache, it's the same process, and these were sold as a set. So ultimately, when you see something, grab it. I got to tell you, now over a decade later, it's probably 2 decades ago, I should say, I've never seen anything like this ever again. Just grab it when you see it. Where do I see strange things like this? I used to love the pharmacies on the day after Christmas. The now Rite Aids and Save-Ons, they had different names back then. I also like Ross Dress for Less in their basement, in their home decor department. They always have a clearance shelf. They start clearing things out way before Christmas, and they start discounting them. They just get these strange items, and they ship them in from Southeast Asia, and they're absolutely incredible. And you'll never see them again. So if you see them, grab them. In prior years of broadcasts, we went over how to buy them. I like things that are made out of tin, things that are made out of steel, things that are made out of wood. They last the test of time. This is paper mache. It has lasted quite well as well. Ultimately, you want to keep it away from cows that host YouTube channels because, they'll trip into them. For the shores of Santa Monica, California, thank you for joining me on a beautiful afternoon's holidays edition. The programming continues tonight on Evenings LA from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Join me all weekend long because I will be with you all weekend long where the programming never stops. It's LA 1, LA 2, and LA 3. Stay informed, stay focused, and happy holidays.